1,000 subscribers calls for a triple chocolate cookie. I'm super stoked. I honestly can't believe we have 1,000 subscribers. I'm so excited over this. I'm so stoked over this. And there are two main things that I want to do in this week's video for 1,000 subscribers. I'm finally going to share the story of where Chicken Sendies title or the name came from, and I'm going to do a full bike check. Technically, I have 10 bikes. I have 9 that I'll be able to show, kind of. One I have a story about, and one that's still in a box brand new, and I don't know if I'll ever put it together. Let's get into it. I've actually been asked this question quite a few times in comments and just from people I've met on the trails, but they've asked, where did Chicken Sendies come from? So originally the channel was going to be called Eats and Yeets, and the entire point of the channel was going to be us eating food and us riding our bikes and just putting videos up of basically getting Sendy. We were just going to do like downhill segments, jumping and stuff like that. And I was out on the bike ride with Single Track Jack whenever we were discussing this whole concept of potentially making a YouTube channel and what we were going to do. So while riding, we continued just talking and discussing, and eventually we started talking about where we wanted to eat when we were done riding, and we were talking about getting chicken tendies is what we wanted to get, chicken tenders. So we were going to go to Chick-fil-A. Typically when we get done riding, we'll eat at Chick-fil-A or Taco Bell. I don't know why, but that's what we do. So we were talking about getting chicken from Chick-fil-A, and we said we wanted chicken tendies. Well, Jackie said, well, first we have to get Sendy to get the tendies. And then we kept talking, we were saying, well, don't be a chicken, you need to get Sendy. So the name actually came from discussing food on a bike ride, and that's where we got Chicken Sendies. So the entire point of the YouTube channel itself is not to be afraid and just to send it, is basically what it is. Now, that's probably not information or a tip I would really tell you to follow, but that's why the logo is the chicken freaking out on the bike, because he's getting Sendy and it's a chicken. But that's where the actual name Chicken Sendies came from. There is a reason behind it. So hopefully that answers some of your guys' questions over that. So this is the first bike we're gonna talk about today. This is my beautiful daughter Elsie's bike. This is a Strider bike. It is a 0-speed and 100% leg powered. All bikes are leg powered, but it's a 2-year-old Strider and my daughter loves it. But we got this for her on her first birthday, and honestly, it's a pretty sweet little bike. We really like it, and I'm sure it's going to be handed down to Piper whenever she becomes the appropriate age to ride it. So, Strider, good way to get started. This is my wife's Marin Bike. Whenever we were discussing what she wanted bike-wise, she wanted something that was going to be a little more comfortable to ride, and she wanted something that would also work for decent miles. So, after discussing with her, we decided to go with this bike. It is absolutely a terrific bike. She's gone on a couple 20-mile rides. We're planning on doing a 30-mile ride on Sunday, so she's really getting back into it. I'm hoping this is going to help her build up some real good stamina. Then we could potentially go into a road bike, and then we could potentially go into trail bikes again, because before she had Piper, she was actually out riding the trails with me. So we're trying to ease her in before we just send her back on the trails. But honestly, this is a super solid bike. It has an Advent 9 drivetrain in the back, and for road riding, like what she's using it for right now, or as a commuter, it's absolutely terrific. But pretty sharp bike, and this one is my wife's. This is my nuke-proof digger. It is a road bike. It's technically a gravel bike, and it came with 650B tires, but I purchased the 700C rims and the tires to swap off and on. Whenever I bought this bike, I wanted to make sure I bought a bike that was also compatible with 700C tires. So this one fit the bill. I've had it about 2 years now. I've done thousands of miles on this bike, literally, and I love this bike. With the trails here in Illinois and Indiana and the surrounding states, when it rains, it can be down for a couple weeks, sometimes, definitely days. Just depends on how much water or rain we actually get. So I invested in a road bike pretty well for conditioning. And this bike has been with me for a while. It's probably the least modified bike I have. I put an oval ring on the front, drivetrain's all the same, hoods are the same, hydraulic. I mean, this bike's been super solid. I love nuke-proof bikes, and this digger has really, really surprised me. It's a terrific bike. If you are newer to the channel, you may have never seen this bike. This is my NS Eccentric. I love this bike. This is my always go-to trail bike. Typically, if I'm riding with friends or just going out, I'm not recording, this is the bike I take. This is my #1 bike in my quiver. This is what it is. I love hardtails. I have this bike's decked out. I mean, the stuff I have on this bike is honestly pretty silly for a hardtail, but I ride it so much, and I love this bike. I built this bike up for the frame. I handpicked every part on this bike. I've slowly changed stuff as I've ridden it more and more, but this is an NS Eccentric. It's about 2 years old as well, and me and this bike are making a lot of history together, and I love this bike. I will probably never, well, I'll never get rid of this bike. This bike is just a staple in my collection, and I absolutely love it. Everything from the white tires to the oil slick to the purple to the teal. This bike is just an absolute blast to ride. It's got 140mm travel up front. It's a RockShox Revelation that I switched all the internals out to make it pretty well in Ultimate. It's got wireless GX axis shifting. I just put a brand new Axis black chain on it, which I love the black chain on it. I mean, I did not hold anything back when I built this bike, and it's been so much fun. So, had a lot to say about this one because I love this one, but my NS Eccentric, it's my baby. All the bikes are my babies. This is my first baby. This is my Crew Defender 700C. This is legitimately a 700C BMX bike. This is a bigger frame BMX bike. This is my daddy-daughter bike, as you can see. And I used to ride the shotguns, the kid ride shotguns, but I just switched to Mac rides this year. The Mac rides are so much easier to switch from bike to bike because I have a couple trail bikes set up to go on rides with her. And this one doesn't touch the frame at all, whereas the shotgun clamped around the posts. So I'm pretty glad to switch to this Mac ride. But I said that my road bike, my nuke-proof digger, was the bike I've changed the least on. I think this is it, actually. I don't think I've really changed anything on this bike. I added different brake pads to the brakes. I think that's it. Oh, and the handlebars, or the grips. I changed the white grips because I thought that was pretty cool. But this bike's awesome. I absolutely love it. It's a single speed, which is great for me and Elsie, so it's kind of a workout for me as well. But between actually doing long miles on this and just taking it around town to take her to the park and stuff, that's what I use this bike for. So if I'm not going too far around town, I'll ride this with her, like going to the store and things like that if we just need to get a little thing. So she loves going on rides with this, and it's really, really fun. But I've had this bike for a little while now, and honestly, it's been terrific. I think it was around $400 when I bought it, and it's treated me about perfect for what I use it for. So I love this, and the fact that I have it set up as a daddy-daughter bike is just kind of the cherry on top for me because I love being able to enjoy something with my daughter that I personally really enjoy. So it's an awesome bike, and I love the white. I think it looks super sharp. The Dolomite ALX. You know, I really don't even know what to say about this bike. It was so much fun to work on. I don't know if I've ever had as much fun working on this bike as I have working on any bike. I don't know what it was about this bike. I don't know if it's just because it was a fat tire bike and I've never worked on it, and it was so much fun to see what the weight I could get it down to was, but I mean, this bike has just been an absolute blast. It's so much fun on the trails. The carbon fork that I put on it is amazing. I can't believe I got it for like $160 and it was a $400 specialized fork with a lifetime warranty. I mean, this bike was just an absolute blast. The 4-inch tires are obnoxious and it's so fun. And I can't wait for winter time to actually let this bike's true potential shine when we get some snow here so I can take it on a snowy ride. But I have enjoyed this bike so much. I definitely think this is one of the more popular bikes on the channel. If I just go through and see like the algorithms of how many views and things like that, this bike's pretty well at the top of all of that. I think one of my newer bikes I have just purchased is gonna beat this one out eventually. But the Dolomite ALX is just an amazing bike. And even stock, this has so much value and bang for buck. But this bike's awesome. I've been so stoked over it, and it's just so much fun to take it on the trails. So, the Mongoose Xr Pro. This bike has not been getting the love it deserves on my channel here lately, just because of the Schwinn Axum and now the Ledge X1, and then I built up the Vitus. There's just a few bikes that kind of overshone this bike. But looking at this bike, it probably looks quite a bit different than my last video. There's a few things I've done differently. I know the drivetrain's all been upgraded now. So it's got Shimano Deore stuff up front. It's got an Advent X in the back. I love Advent X. I have 3 or 4 of them now. I think 4 technically, because I have one in a box right there, ready to go on a different bike. But the Advent X is one of my favorite drivetrains for the price. I think it's terrific. But the only thing that I think is still stock on this are the brakes, which I'll probably put hydraulic brakes on it eventually, but they work okay, so there's no reason to change it. But I'm pretty well done with my XR Pro. I just haven't done the videos. They're actually on my computer and ready to go, but I've had the content, so I've kind of put this on hold. But this thing is going to be going head-to-head to my Ledge X1 once I start getting that upgraded as well. So, but I've been super impressed with this bike. It's been so fun, and honestly, when I saw it went back in stock, I wanted to buy this because I felt like, you know, a couple years ago, this was like the bike to buy and upgrade, so I just wanted to experience that. I wasn't too worried necessarily about like dimensions and geometry and things like that. I just wanted to get it to own it and build it up. I feel like it's kind of a cool, just budget bike piece of history. So this is pretty well my XR Pro build. I went black and silver. I think it looks absolutely terrific. It rides terrific. The suspension upgrade was a huge upgrade. And then the actual changing the drivetrain, of course, just made it even better for me. So hopefully those videos will come out here soon. But XR Pro. It's a Mongoose Xr Pro. I think everyone should have one of these if they can find one. I just think they're terrific bikes, and like I said, it's a budget bike piece of history in my opinion. So it's pretty cool. My Vitus Mythique VR that is no longer a VR at all. I literally bought the VR for its parts and for its frame. I had someone in one of the comments say you should have just bought the frame, which I'm not disagreeing with. It would have been cheaper to buy the frame, but I didn't want just a frame. I wanted the entire bike because I had ideas and basically different projects for the bike's parts. And those bike parts have been put on other projects as well to save me some money. So this bike is actually the byproduct of what the bang for buck bike build. I can't even say what my actual things are. The bang for buck bike build is. So the actual frame that was supposed to be used for the bang for buck bike build was this one. So yeah, there is a long story behind this frame. I don't know if you can hear that. That is all the sand that's still in this frame from the professionals that I had sandblast this and powder coated. I am still very frustrated over what happened to this frame. It looks gorgeous. I got it back, and after I found out what happened to it, told my wife, Marley, that I'm going to put this in the chicken coop and never talk about it. So all you people who have been asking about it in the comments, that's why I've never said anything to you about the frame or just kind of ignored the question. There was a reason behind it. So today I will tell the story about this and this bike. This was Single Track Jack's Jameis fault line. I believe it was an A2 frame. Jackie went back to a hardtail and we swapped all of his parts over to that hardtail, and I bought this frame from him. I wanted to buy the frame, get it powder coated in this really cool white, and do a white and purple and black build. All the parts that are on this build were meant for this bike frame. Whenever they powder coated this, they did not cover a single port. They did not cover anything. Everything got powder coated over. While I was installing the bottom bracket, both sides were stripped out and they're not even close to being equal. So I could potentially someday still use this frame to build it some way or form if I Dremel out everything and maybe re-tap the bottom and figure out what to do there. But I am just so frustrated with what happened. Out of spite, I put it on the shelf and left it there. And it might still be there for a couple years. But that's the story behind this frame. This is the frame that was supposed to be used for this build. But luck just so happened to strike and the Vitus went back in stock. And that frame and the entire build for $1,600.50, so it's $1,650, is an amazingly terrific deal. I saw that, it's like, hey Marley, this is what I'm thinking, can I spend the money? She said, sure. So I spent the money, and this is where we at. Now, this bike is so close to being perfect. This is basically my fun, full suspension bike build. And I'm getting ready to go to Shepherd Saturday. I'm gonna go to Shepherd Mountain. I'm gonna bring this bike, and it's gonna be a blast. I love it. But it's more of a trail bike. It's a step above cross country, but it's not quite the enduro levels, which is perfect for 90% of the trails I ride. The only thing that I dislike about this bike is this right here, the bend. This bend here prevents my dropper post from going all the way down, and it is just maddening. But I have the dropper set to where it's okay and it fits me fine. And honestly, besides that little thing, this bike is so much fun. I love the way it looks between the actual graphics on the Marzocchi Bomber to just the Fox rear suspension. This bike is amazing and it rides so well. Definitely gonna have more videos of this bike coming out soon. I know this was a little bit longer of a bike check, but there's a little bit of a story to it because of this frame. Probably my most questionable budget build. And this one is extremely budget technically, but it's just very different than what most people would do with this bike because it is technically a very nice cross-country to potentially hardcore, hardtail styled bike. It's made to really just take the trail, take a decent beating and go, and I turned it into basically a gravel trail bike. It's a flat bar gravel bike, but it's a flat bar gravel bike with 29 by 2.6 inch tires. So really, in my opinion, it is a medium fat bike is what it is. A single speed medium fat bike. But I'm so stoked with the way this bike actually turned out. I officially have the Captain's Cog sticker on the bike. So it now, I think that takes off 2 pounds of weight if I recall. But whenever we were talking about it, he deemed this the Graxsome, the gravel Axsome, and I love that. So this bike is the Graxsome, and I'm so stoked with the way this build turned out, and it's really just a very cool, fun bike for my collection. So, the Graxsome. This bike is in a very strange current state because I'm in the process of changing things for an actual video. So it's missing a seat post, and really, it's kind of missing some decals and stuff because we got different things going on there. I have a very nice Crank Brothers dropper post that will be put in this here soon with the video. But I just did a live feed unboxing of this. This is the bike that I think is going to do better than the Dolomite ALX. I very well could be wrong, but I think for the price of this bike and what you get, I think this is going to be a very popular bike to the budget crowd and also to the crowd that's really just trying to get into mountain biking. We'll see how the actual stock holds up because my first order did not go through. It was pending. It was still pending when I had this one delivered. I saw that Kev Central posted a second round of stock went through. So I grabbed this one in the second round of stock and did get this one. I finally canceled my original order and got my money back for that one. But this is just going to be another very fun project trail bike for me. I have some very fun plans with this bike. It is going to be an entirely different bike with pretty well when I'm done with it. Only the frame should be stock. Let me go through the parts I have. Yes, only the frame should be stock. And I'm really interested to see just where the weight is. And this bike is eventually going to go head to head with the XR Pro. And it's actually eventually going to go head to head against my Vitus Mythique. And for the Vitus Mythique head to head, I'm actually not going to be the one doing it. I have a couple buds lined up to ride both of them down some trails, and just to get the feeling for both of them, I'll put the GoPro on them, and I'm just so excited to see how those builds go. That's of course not just a little bit down the line whenever I'm done doing the upgrades and stuff, but definitely expect quite a few videos coming up for this bad boy. But the Mongoose X1, I mean, just a crazy amount of value for this bike. The only thing that I can say that's really bad is the fact that it comes with the freewheel as opposed to a HG Shimano styled hub. But I mean, that's a pretty easy fix if you just lace up a new hub or if you find just a cheap rear wheel to put on. But other than that, I mean, for the price, there's not much to complain about this bike. It's a very cool bike. The color is very sharp. And there's definitely some things that are going to be being changed on this bad boy here soon. But we'll see what happens in the long run. But I'm super stoked to see where this bike goes and just to see the feedback from the Chicken Sendies community. So definitely stay tuned for this one. This is a birthday present to myself. This is literally my dream build dirt jumper. I did the last video a couple weeks ago of me at the skate park with the dirt jumper, and I had so much fun on it. I decided to build an entire new one. I did not record the process of me building this thing up, and it was because I just wanted to enjoy building it. And this was one of the most pleasant experiences of building a bike I've ever had. It's got a mid-bottom styled, a mid-bottom bracket, sorry. And I never messed with one of those. And it was fun. I loved everything about this bike. I don't even know like what happened in my brain when I was like, I want a new dirt jumper. And then I was like, hey, I'm just gonna build my dream dirt jumper. And that's literally what I did. And I mean, from the Pike DJ fork to the Spank Spoon wheels to the pink and blue color scheme, everything on this bike is legit exactly what my dream dirt jumper is. I got to take it to the actual pump track today. It performed amazing. I can't even explain to you how much fun I had riding this bike. And the really cool thing about this bike is it's got a very nice pink Berserker sticker on it. So this is officially Berserker is the name of this dirt jumper. And the frame is an Evil Faction 2. I have always wanted one of these frames. And I just so happened jumped on Jensen USA and they were in stock. So I called Marley because I was at work and I was like, hey, these bike frames are in stock and my birthday's in like a week and a half. Do you care if I buy myself a birthday present? So I bought that, and originally I was just going to switch all the parts from my Evolved Phantom dirt jumper onto this one. And it was just a snowball down a hill. And this is where we ended. A whole new wheel set, just everything. And this bike is my newest bike. I don't think I have any videos of it up technically, of like legit videos of me talking about it and stuff. There'll be one here soon over this bike. But I am so thrilled with this bike. And I do have a question for you all. So right now I'm rocking the Race Kings, and I really like them. I thought they performed terrific, but I do have the Skinwall DTHs in 2.3 inches, so they're 26 by 2.3. I think they'd look really, really good. What do you think in the comments? These Race Kings are brand new, so I was just gonna kind of hold on to these potentially, but maybe I should go and slap them on. Let me know in the comments what you think about them. So that's pretty well all my bikes. There's one bike I did not show you, and it is a Mongoose. It's a Mongoose Stranger Things limited edition bike. It's the Mad Max one, the silver and yellow one, and it's a BMX bike, and I just never opened it because I wanted it as a collector's item. So Marley got it for me as a birthday present. I wrapped it in a tarp, and it's taped, and it's in the corner of the garage right now. And I didn't feel like showing you a box. I didn't feel like that'd be super fun for you guys to see. But I do have that, and maybe someday I'll do an unboxing of it and just kind of have a fun time putting it together and show it off. But I just kind of wanted that for my personal collection, and it's just stored away right now. It's crazy to think we're at 1,000 subscribers. I am so grateful for all the support that I've received from you all and just other YouTubers, and it's just been so cool to see how this channel has kind of just evolved and grown into what it is. And I truly am enjoying this, and I really hope you all are enjoying this. And I know all I can really say is thank you, but I truly am grateful for every one of you that have clicked that subscribe button. And it's just amazing to see where I was almost 2 years ago to where we are now, between the interacting and comments and just everything. It's so fun. And I just am so grateful, and I can't wait to see where the rest of this goes. Obviously, we just continue, just onward and upward, I guess. But I showed you quite a few bikes today. There are videos up of pretty much all the bikes. If they're not videos up, they'll be up soon, ideally. But if you have any questions over them, please let me know. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. I just kind of wanted to do something a little more fun, a little different for the channel, so you can learn a little bit more about me and the bikes all I have, and just kind of where the channel spawned from. But thank you all so very much. And until next time, everybody take care.